All right, I guess we'll just start. And hopefully the beats rock right. Hi, Megaface here with Jet, Secret House Against, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations, mostly independent, underground, hip-hop conversations. We were having that conversation about like these subgenres and descriptors for different aspects of hip-hop culture and shit. Like, I don't even know what to... Like, I've just always leaned into just like underground, independent, even though like some of this shit is not necessarily a part of that underground movement that I'm trying to denote, and some of the shit is not even like independent in that sense. But yeah, I'll keep it there because these other terms like prostitution rap are not fucking cutting it.
That's gross. That's
like some fucking weird white redditor or some shit. You know what I mean? Just hates women. Yeah,
I was calling that specific wave hot girl rap just because that was my like. You know, it was like hot girl summer. Like I was just like that was the vibe that was getting put out. But that I don't think that was ever a term for it. Like, people were like, ask me who the fuck is Hot Ice Spice? And I was just like, you know, like a hot girl rapper. Yeah. People were like, oh okay, yeah.
I get that.
I fucking hate genre terminology anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Now whatever. We're hip hop conversations. You guys know we're back. Today we're checking out the new Fat Tony album. I guess Fat Tony and Taydex, since he handles the production details. It's called "I Will Make a Baby in This Damn Economy." 13 songs, 32 minutes. This dropped a couple months back, and I didn't realize it dropped a couple months back when I shot you the message and said, "Let's do it." Somebody recommended we do it on the Discord, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but we're back to it, and yeah, we're happy to review this one. Fat Tony is a Nigerian-American MC, rapper, artist from Houston. Shout out. It looks like this is about his 9th full-length project. Lots of EPs, mixtapes, remix albums, several collabs going back to at least 2008. So he's been putting down for a tremendous minute. And then we also have Taydex, who is... where's... Maybe I didn't put down the notes for Taydex. You know anything about production from Taydex?
I know nothing about Taydex.
Shit. All right, but Taydex
I don't know anything about anything, man. I'm dumb, bro. You know that.
I mean, I usually try to come prepared, and I thought that I did. But this seems to be the second collaborative album between Taydex and Fat Tony. They released an album like 2 years ago. I don't know. This is my first time getting into Fat Tony. And also Taydex. So
Taydex is a Los Angeles-based producer.
Yeah,
Thank you, internet.
Yeah, they recorded this. Yeah, they recorded this album in Los Angeles at the new studio that Taydex has got. I'm sure Taydex is super dope and prolific and been putting out shit for a long time. Easy to tell by the quality of his production and just the general sound and the type of tracks he puts together. What we like to do on this show when we haven't reviewed an artist before, especially one that has only even though that's a tremendous number, like 100,000 streams monthly on my little Spotify indicator, you know, one that is not necessarily in the mainstream spotlight, I would say. We like to talk about how we know this person. So how do you know either of these folks?
I'm familiar with Fat Tony through his affiliation with Das Racist.
Okay, same.
Like he was on like Sit Down Man on a few tracks on there.
Nehru Jackets
teams. Yeah. He's it was him, Big Baby Gandhi, like that whole kind of circle.
Also on the Live Love ASAP Rocky. He's done work with Still Tip Dove, Kerry Foe, and even Black Midi.
Yes.
Yeah, Black Midi's live album recorded in America.
Yeah, that's
I know
right.
You're a huge fan. I'm a fan as well.
They brought him on stage.
Yeah, so but this is I would say that despite hearing so many of the features that he's been on in the past, I never said, oh, let me go check out that guy. And it wasn't because of the quality of his art or anything like that. I just failed to do that on those projects, you know what I mean? And so this I would consider being my first time stepping into Fat Tony's work. Yes. And to be honest with you, I kept on mixing Fat Tony and Fat Ray up.
Yes, so that was it, because you messaged me saying, yo, let's review the Fat Ray. And I was like, oh, Fat Ray's got an album out. Yeah. Cool. And then I spent like 20 minutes like looking through every outlet, like, oh, it's not on streaming. Shit, is it on Bandcamp? It's not on Bandcamp. Where the fuck did Mega get this album? Like, let me check the Discord, see if anybody's talking about the new Fat Ray out. It was not Fat Ray, it was Fat Tony.
Yeah. Shout out to fat folks, Fat Boy
John.
Sharif. Yeah. But yeah. To get into it, this album has a lot of features. Paul Wall, Blackie, Cadence Weapon, Harriet Brown, BK Habermail. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Yep.
Forgive me. But yeah, a lot of features on this album. What are your general thoughts on this one, Jet?
This album, especially in terms of the rapping, hits on a lot of stuff that I don't like in hip hop. So the odds, like the album was kind of stacked against me from the start, or rather my views towards this record were always going to be stacked against me.
I think it's both kind of a little bit outside of our wheelhouse.
It's definitely outside of our wheelhouse, yes. I don't like motivational positivity type raps. Lots of that on here. And I really can't stand overuse of I'm X like Y type punchlines, which this album, especially in the first half, really, really leans heavily on.
Right.
Those first couple tracks, there's probably 50 of them. So out of the gate, I was kind of like, this is probably just not going to be for me. And to be honest, although I do actually quite like this record and I left it with a positive overall impression, this is definitely not my lane. It's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But the production on here is really, really good. I really, really like the beats on here. I mean, Taydex like repeatedly knocks out of the park on some of the beats on here.
Our channel, we do hip hop discussions. We don't really review from as like how would you say? We're not like Fantano where we're trying to assign numbers to something or discuss the aesthetic qualities of them and how they're executed. A lot of this conversation, it goes different ways. Sometimes we'll get into it, using various different types of analytical instruments. We even get leftists on things. Now, this album doesn't necessarily lend itself to that, and it also doesn't necessarily lend itself to the kind of avant-garde leftist approach of a lot of the music that we do listen to, or even that lineage. But this does come from, I think, like a lineage that is actually dope. I was in Texas for the early days of Swishahouse, and so guys like Paul Wall have endeared themselves to me despite kind of always being to the right of the type of things that I really fuck with. But this album is just upbeat, vibrant, fun, glitchy at times, rowdy, and it's some real turn up shit. Like, and it's not necessarily like some Lil Jon and the East Side Boys tear the club up shit. It's really colorful, and it's even insightful in a lot of places where it's like turn up in your face, like behind your face, like it's inspirational at times. It's also what I like to think of like this middle ground between like underground shit and also approaching like a pop sensibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
This is, I mean, Das Racist.
Yeah.
ASAP Rocky until he became a massive star. Big Crit.
Big Crit is a good example. Like one of the things that I like about this album is that this is like grown man type of shit, right? It's still youthful and exuberant. It's full of all of these ideological ideas that he has and the way that he approaches his life, and most of these things are not really toxic at all. Like they're really good things, and I don't even think that he leans too much into like a lot of the shit is kind of like the titles of the songs are the idea and the concept of the song based upon the title most of the time. Like We Still Here, what do you think that's about?
Right.
Opportunist Convention, what do you think that's about? Don't Tap In, what do you think that's about? The title's laid out clear and bare, and I do kind of like a lot of these things personally that they make me feel good despite being like a 40-year-old weird leftist avant-garde experimental fucking graffiti type of guy, right? Like some of these songs made me feel like pretty good. Like, I've known Cadence Weapon for decades now, I suppose. I know him from early work with like Anti-MC, Buck 65, Noah 23, B Dolan. Like he was a part of that kind of if you don't know a 23 or Anti-MC or Buck or even B Dolan, that's really left of this, but they meshed the weather so well on
Blackie, all caps with spaces on here.
Yeah.
When I saw featuring B space L space A, I was like, wait, no way, because I'm listening to all this very, I'm going down the track list. Yeah. I'm on like I'm maybe on We Still Here. You know, we got the twinkly little math rocky guitar. It's very beautiful, like it's very pretty.
Sonically, that track is incredible.
Lot of very strong melodic elements, and I'm like, wait, Blackie's on this shit? How is Blackie going to fit on this shit? Especially, have you listened to Blackie's album this year?
Not this year.
Have you play? Have you got it on? Like, you got the streaming on here? Can you play a snippet of the song "Free the Black Consciousness"? Because this is what Blackie is sounding like this year. I feel like people should.
All right. I don't know.
Oh, you put a
maybe it's not on Spotify. I don't know. Do I have to space it out? But
maybe just try "Free the Black Consciousness." But
all right.
Sorry, I know this is not particularly relevant, but like, I feel like it does illustrate very well how this album brings together a bunch of different people from different scenes and different styles, even though it's a very
I don't have it on. It's not on Spotify.
It's not on there.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
Yeah. But Blackie is one of these kind of loud, transgressive type of harsh noise artists, and that is definitely not the kind of gloss that is present all over this album. In fact, like some of these features, like there's Blackie on there's Cadence Weapon, and there's also Paul Wall. Yep. And like you don't necessarily think that those things mesh, but all of the features work really well on this album, and they give it some different depth. They give it a different approach.
Are they all from Houston as well?
No, Cadence Weapon is from Canada.
Oh, okay.
I know that for sure.
Yeah,
and,
Blackie's from Houston. So
okay, well,
I was
Paul
like,
Wall
he's representing, and Paul Wall, of course.
Paul Wall, that's what I figured the connection was. But like, I think that even Fat Tony has a very southern Houston style of his flow.
Yes.
It's just that he's a little bit faster and more melodic than that typical Western, especially southern drawl of rap. He basically does the same type of styling that are inherent to Houston stylers, just faster. He's not he'll like he's gonna come down. I'm gonna come down. He does it with like I'm like and to me that's a bit endearing, just coming from like being a part of that early part of Texas rap. Before Swishahouse blew up, I was there in like 2001 for about 9 months because I had to flee because of carjacking. You know what I mean? But I was
Don't
there.
tell on yourself, man.
I don't care. They, like the statute of limitations is done. All those cars are. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine. I mean, I'm never going back to America either. But I was out there and it was like we was getting like the After the Kappa tapes, and it was like a real underground movement that was inherent like to the region of Texas. So I like that. And Paul Wall on this does some real dope grown man shit too. I have the utmost respect for artists who just are themselves. Like not everything needs to be about being a billionaire or. There was a weird switch that happened when it went from like rapping about the first of the month to rapping about being like the richest nigga out. And like, I do like this middle ground of your cats like a Big Crit who are still like, I'm getting money, but I'm doing it with integrity. I'm getting money, but I'm like that. And
which was
like
something
this shit is dope for that.
I did appreciate about, sorry, I gotta pull up the Opportunist Convention. Because there were, there's a lot of I gotta hustle, I gotta grind type lyrics on here, and I can't stand hustle culture, grind set type stuff.
You're not a Sigma male?
I am not.
Gorilla Mind State.
Not.
Yeah,
not.
I feel you. I fucking makes me sick.
And I was just like, okay, well, I mean, he says like work hard, and it's like, yeah of course, but and I still don't care for that stuff, but. Then he kind of flips it by having that track on there where he's talking about like, he started talking about like, let's get on this, let's get this bread, and then
he
like I could
tell the edgelords and the fucking
straight away
scammers
this guy's an edgelord and that he's just trying to like, he's trying to run a grift of some sort, and I was like, oh okay, this is a bit more interesting than I was maybe giving him initial credit for. Even as an edgelord myself.
I fuck with it. He's just like, people want to scam and do all types of shit, but he's just trying to earn to, survive in this world. And there's a lot of like really kind of down to earth tracks that I appreciate that reason for. Like, the Paul Wall verse is like, just good shit. Like never knock on somebody's dream, never disrespect my queen. word. I'm glad. I like that grown person thing. You know what I mean? Like, loosen up. That album's so vibey. The singing on that is so great. Another track like Alexis, right?
Yeah.
Featuring Harriet Brown. He talks about like being a good homeboy to his homegirl.
Yeah.
Which is like his best friend, you know? And that is not really something that is like an oversaturated concept. It's not high like thinking like you're trying to figure it out like Aesop Rock Black Snow type, you know what I mean? But it's just there, and it's like, yeah, I appreciate that. We Still Here. All right, first off, that track sonically is kind of amazing. Like, whether you don't care for this type of gleam, like I know a lot of our fans is like, yo, the new Rome Streets, or, you know, Griselda, like, you know, Rock Marciano beat, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to fucking like really live in the sewer type of shit music, right? Yeah. And this is not that, but yo, We Still Here. The concept is great, and I appreciate it. Even though you've heard it so many times, like,
yeah, but it's earnest. It's really
earnest. That's
it's
a good word for it.
The whole album is earnest.
I like that.
There's none of the cynicism that comes with certain artists that also tell you, oh, boss up, get your money up, work hard, you can do it. We're the best, like, or I'm the best in the case of certain MCs. Yeah. The positivity does seem to come from a really genuine place, as opposed to just like,
that's what makes me not. That's
forced.
What makes me not really hate on it. Like, there's other artists we reviewed that are like, you know, your self-help rappers,
yes,
and you're fucking like, you know, you too can have perfectly shaped commercials, like, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't come across as that. It comes across as like a dude's art. He's making it. He's getting it out the mud. He's happy to have these experiences. He appreciates the things around him and the culture that has shaped him. He celebrates it, and also he's like having fun. We Still Here, you know, that made me think it's so kind of like upbeat and kind of happy that it's like it left me in a weird space, because, you know, I got homies that Texas has been shot and killed and murdered, and you know, and I'm just like, word, we still here. That song is really kind of a bit like cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
And there's a depth here that I really appreciate about this art. And there's also just like that shit that I'm with a lot of the times. As a grown man myself, like, don't tap in. First off, the beats on that are dope, and the beat switch to the end joint is Contusion is great. But I love that beat, and like, when I was hella sober, I was on that shit. Like, I don't want to be like, I'll be outside late is networking, building our shit up and whatever. And I'm just like, bruh, like, I don't even want to fucking dap you up. Like, don't be homies with me. Like, I don't want to be about that shit. And it's just like, don't tap in. We ain't got a link. Nah, we ain't even got to meet. Like, I was like, yeah, this is a fucking jam. If I had a car, I'll be playing that shit. Cause like, don't we not know? I don't like, all right, what's your Insta then? But I'm putting you on the other list that I don't get the notifications, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But there are some tracks that I don't really care for on this, just because of me, not necessarily because the aspects of them. It's a clean, colorful, wonderful type of album for people that you know, ride around and are not taking fucking Cymbalta every day, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I got a vitamin D deficiency or some shit, maybe, because also, this shit is happy.
Like, Blackie put out a track called Born Inside Excrement this year. So, like, fuck it. If Blackie's down, even if it's for the most hostile track on the album and then some, if it's good enough for him, if it's good enough for Michael, the core is good enough for me.
Yeah, I'd be too fucking sick, nervous, and broke to really turn up like this anymore. But I appreciate. I forgot who it was that recommended it to us, but I appreciate it because this album, it reminded me that a lot of the shit that I be listening to don't really be like helpful to my mind state, bro. And I'm not saying that I'll be listening to, you know, like it's shit in the sewer, but I'll listen to a lot of like poetic shit. And when you're poetic, you really like, you know how it be. Like, there's been a few albums this year that kind of like really made me feel happy and optimistic, and like the Carrie Foe is one that made me feel good. Also, shout out to, I think she's from H-Town too. The Noname album made me feel good and celebrate. The Sleeping Dog shit made me feel good and celebrate. This album is also one that made me feel good, and it made me appreciate Like at first I was like, man, I don't really care for a lot of the bar styling that he's doing on this. But after a while I was like, oh hell yeah. Like I'm okay with it. Like you vibing with it.
It diversifies across the record as well.
Yeah.
Like it
he
doesn't
be getting
just
it
stay in that
sometimes
lane. He
too.
gets it. Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be like, all right, you're gonna rhyme this word with, you know, Cosby and another Cosby, and you know what I mean? Like some shit that is not necessarily my wheelhouse for like creative writing. But yo, this I was like, yeah, bro, you know, I'm a big Crit fan, and this is like the Texas version of a certain archetype of grown black man shit that I fuck with. This is like some like Big Boy. If Big Boy, if you like Big Boy, but you don't necessarily feel like you a player or you a pimp, you know what I mean, or you on that floss and shit, then you'll like this, because this is some real grown man shit. My nephew K-Rock, you know, he from Texas, and you know, my family, I still got my niece and my other nephew in Texas. I'm gonna toss this to them because I know they're gonna be fucking with it, especially somebody from H-Town. I told you my niece and my nephew out there in H-Town, and I'm never going back. But yeah, I like this.
What?
I like it. We be liking music on this show.
Yeah,
we don't look to us to get some, like, there's been a few times where I'm like, yeah, this shit's whack. But I don't remember which albums those were. Maybe like of the 70, 80 that we've done, there's like 3 that I'm like, yeah, I don't like this shit.
It was trash, yeah.
I don't like this shit. In fact, one of them was that Big Crib fucking full court, half court press. Yeah, I didn't like that shit. I just felt, I think it was Wiz Khalifa that ruined that one.
Phil talk Wiz Khalifa, like, yeah.
I'm talking about smoking a pound of weed. Nigga, come on. But anyways, I love y'all.
Favorite tracks on here?
Oh yeah, we gotta do that.
I'm gonna go with
We Still Here. Easily one of mine.
Okay.
Like I just thought it was like dope.
I'm gonna go with Loosen Up with BK Habermel. As apologies, I don't have to pronounce that. Don't Tap In. And Best Believe. That beat is incredible. We haven't really talked about the production. The production is incredible.
The production is like,
it's funky. It's fucking beautiful. It's melodic.
I was trying to figure out like who is it comparable to? You know what I mean? Like I was thinking like Flamingosis, but that's like more disco funk than this. This is like Crystal Gardens, like Lone era. Like it's very like.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of like that Sonic the Hedgehog casino world joint. Like, let's play it. Hold on.
It's like a less Tweed Daedalus in places. Like early aughts make it so era Daedalus sometimes. Yeah, I don't know.
Hell, hold on. Let me
Illingsworth.
Pull it up and shit. Nah, like I feel like it's like closer to like EDM, like IDM artists than it is to like any of the hip hop kind of contemporaries. Because like, listen to this shit. All right, like.
Oh, I mean, this is like, this is Lone.
Okay. Yeah, you know what I mean. This is that fucking neon hyper
this
world.
Is,
you know what
this
I mean?
is
like,
London 2012.
Yeah.
Plastic people before it got gentrified out of existence. Like,
shooters alerted if you even farted. Girlfriend got thick rims like 40. I got a vision, gotta go for it. And then water reported. Gotta get ahead like Portis, line like August.
Yeah, I mean, it gets different. Like there's a cohesion to the production here. But everything sounds like none of the songs are like, oh, this sounds exactly like that, or there's something else. It's just like the palette, the colors that he uses to paint are, you know, yeah, this shit is hard too.
And I was wondering if Blackie did the drums on this.
They are kind of deep and shit, right?
Yeah.
Also, this album title's ill.
Yeah,
like, I will make a baby in this damn economy. Like, bro, like, yeah, I fuck with it.
I liked the title. The only thing is, like, when I actually heard it in the album, it was on my least favorite track on the album. I didn't care for Make a Baby.
I feel you.
Like, all right, yeah, baby making track, and then okay, you made a baby. Like, happy for him. Like, obviously, this is a man who like appreciates his woman and loves fatherhood, and like that's great. All that stuff's dope. Didn't really care.
I thought it was
track.
going to be like a little bit like a different take on it.
It was be funnier, make a baby in this damn economy.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, you're actually just talking about having a kid.
This is probably my third favorite track, Kicking It. Kicking In. Which is about like taking drugs and it kicking in. It's like some turn up shit, but the beat is hard to me.
Sipping mezcal with your guy. She said that the K kicking in right now. Her friend in the back on her phone cutting line. If you FaceTime her, we gon' all FaceTime. Cause she got a couple guns on her waist.
Yeah, I like this this album enough, man. I'm gonna clock in at Fat Tony. I'm gonna clock in at Taydex again, and the Secret House. Noname said that she wished that we would review some more like popular artists and shit, and I assume that meant like Black Thought and like JID, and we'll get to that. Like, we need to step out of the wheelhouse more, but for an album like this, I would like to have like a Scott Popular in the studio, or somebody that's kind of like more towards a little bit more towards even this type of lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because I'll be walking around with headphones like really. If I would have had it my way as a child, I would be living in the sewer right now, practicing karate and eating pizza. Because I just want to be a Ninja Turtle, and like this is too happy for me, man. Especially in this economy. I ain't making no damn babies in this economy.
Oh, you already did. Speaking
of which, yeah, that was a mistake. It was an accident. I love my daughter, but you know what I mean, and my wife. But all I'm saying is that we have a Patreon. You don't even got to pay monthly. Just go ahead and just kick a little, you know what I mean, a little $5 in, and maybe I'll think about making another baby in this damn economy. What do you think, Jed? We getting out of here?
Yeah, this is it.
We be talking a long time.